Hi everybody, it's Stephanie with Planning with Peanutty. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I actually have a Bible journaling video for you. This is my Old Testament journaling edition from Deseret book. I'll put a link in the description below. But as you can see, it has no index and no tabs. So I'm going to make some tabs so that we can fix that. And you can see I've already started journaling in there a little bit. If you want to see more videos, leave me a comment below. So I'm going to grab a couple tools. I have this tab punch. You can see it punches this tab shape, which is just perfect for making tabs. And I think that was a memory keeper punch, but I'll put a link in the description below. Now I have this scrap pad of paper from Hobby Lobby. Now I've had this quite a while and I thought the colors meshed well with the cover of my Old Testament. You can see there's a lot of that sage kind of green and those other neutrals in there I thought would go well. So we'll use some of that paper. And then I also bought this at Hobby Lobby a couple years ago. I don't think they still carry these anymore. You can see I got it on clearance. And those are the books of the Old Testament, and there's another sheet that's books of the New Testament in there as well. I need my acrylic blocks to stamp with and some ink. Now I actually pulled out several different colors. I wasn't sure exactly which color I wanted to use. So let me grab a scrap piece of paper and we can swatch some of these. And I've kept the green, got rid of that lighter blue color, the gray, the black, the light brown, the dark brown. I think that light brown's going to be too light. And I thought the green might not stand out enough, so we're going to go with this dark brown. I didn't want it to be too harsh with the black, but more of a vintage look. So I'm going to pull out these 3 sheets of paper. And there are faint lines on these. I don't know if you can see them. And then some kind of paint looking swatches around the edges. And then there's other papers in there as well that we can use if we need to. So I just have these 3 little 6x6 pieces of paper. And I pulled out my smallest acrylic block because these stamps aren't very large. And let's just jump right in with Genesis. But first I'm going to rub these stamps on the back of my hand so that some of those natural oils from my hand can kind of cure those acrylic stamps a little bit. They're more like silicone. All right, and then my acrylic block has lines on it that I can use as kind of guidelines to try to make sure I put it down somewhat straight. All right, then I thought there's probably a couple different ways we could do this. I wanted to try stamping it first and then punching. So let me just test it on my scrap paper. That's going to work very nice. I noticed I did put it down kind of curved. Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp first. All right, and I'm trying to keep it somewhat close to the top. And then just using a wet wipe to clean that with. Okay, then in order to punch it, I need to trim it because you have to punch it from the bottom. This tab punch doesn't have that much room. And then what we can do is we could slide the bottom open so that we can see exactly where we're punching. And then I can try to line up that Genesis so that it's somewhat centered. All right, there we go. And then you can press part way down on the punch till it's grabbing onto the paper. Okay, so that is a one-sided tab, and this paper is white on the back, so I thought about having a tab that folds over. So in order to get one that has the fold, you have to punch it with the fold in it. So I took this remaining paper, fold it in half. We need a nice firm crease, so I'm just going to grab my scissors and use the handle to try to firmly press that crease out. All right, then we can come in, and now you're going to want to make sure not to punch across the top. We want that fold to be at the very top, but not get punched. All right, so now we have the kind of tab where you can stick it down and both sides will show. But I figured that was going to be too much work. So I cut those two apart, and I figured we could just do one-sided tabs and that would be okay for my purposes. But if you want to spend the time and carefully punch out double-sided tabs, you totally could. All right, so let's continue on here with Exodus. And I think I'm liking this better, where I already have the tab punched, and then I'm going to stamp Leviticus. And then instead of punching a couple and then stamping a couple, let's just punch all of it. So we need 39 books of the Old Testament. So we punched out 39 of these tabs. And I only go through about 2 of these little 6x6 sheets of paper. You can get a ton of tabs out of this little 6x6 sheet of paper. We only need about 1 inch tall. And I cut them into little strips so that I can get 3 out of each one. And I end up using 2 full sheets, and then I go around the border of the last sheet. All right, now we have enough for the books of the Old Testament, so I'm just going to stack those up. And then I also found that in my stamping, we can put 2 books down at once. So let's get that ink pad ready to go again. Okay, so first we do numbers, and then I realized let's bring that scrap paper back over so that if I do miss a little bit, I'm hitting that paper and not the counter. And then I end up putting 1 book at the top and 1 book at the bottom of that acrylic block, and stamping 1 first and then flipping it around and stamping the bottom one. And then that way I can stamp 2 and then clean those 2, put those 2 back and pull the next 2 out, and it was going a little quicker. I just had to make sure not to stamp them upside down. So that was the only thing I had to keep a close eye on. And this is time consuming. You can see I've got it sped up here by about a power of 10. So this whole process did take me about an hour. So be prepared for that. Settle down in. But I like crafting, so it was enjoyable for me. You can buy these sets online, pre-done for you. I believe on Etsy. But I wanted to do it myself, save some money. So for the price of these books and the punch and the little ink pad, we can make our own. Now, if you don't have the stamps, you can write them out by hand. You could use alphabet stamps. That would be more time consuming. But there are other options. You don't have to have these stamps that are the books of the Old Testament. And then it was fun. I memorized the books of the Old Testament with a song. So as I'm stamping them, I can think of that song in my head. And I was kind of singing it as I would go to make sure I didn't skip any books. All right, there we go. So there is all of our books of the Old Testament. And then I want to save the rest of that scrap paper, so just cut off the trim. All right, put all the stamps away and the acrylic block. Okay, so let's grab, now we need some adhesive, and I was a little nervous about using a glue stick, but it actually works out quite well so far. And I love glue sticks because they are so cheap, especially at back to school time. You can get them for like $0.25. And so I'm going to keep my scrap paper, and let's pull my Old Testament back over. And I think I need to move these out of the way, so I'm going to stack those up, keeping them in book order. All right, so let's just open a Genesis here. You see I've got notes going of projects I want to do on each page and things I want to add. Okay, so I already took notes on Genesis, but I think we can still get the tab down without covering too many of my notes. All right, so we want that one up at the top. And then I make sure I give it a nice firm press there so that glue adheres. Okay, then on Exodus, I'm just going to use Genesis to get the spacing down right. And so I use the previous tab to make sure I'm putting it down in the right spot, because I'm going to do 5 across here. And then the bottom one, I was using the previous tab, but then I realized I can just line it up from the bottom. Now you could stagger so that they're not 5 every single time, but I just did the 5 every time so that it'd just be a little easier to not have to try to stagger them, and I figured you'd be able to see them okay. All right, and again, I'm singing through the books of the Old Testament song. I'll put a link to that song too below if you want. It really helps you memorize all 39 books in order. It's perfect. I learned it as a kid at church, and they still do it in our church, so it's very helpful. All right, so we're just putting all these tabs in and trying to not get too messy with that glue stick. Just glue across the bottom and try to make sure I didn't put too much glue where it's seeping out the sides or the back. And all 39 books. So again, this is time consuming. Just be aware of that before you start. All right, and then coming up on the end here, I did realize I wanted to add 2 extra tabs. Because this Old Testament does include Joseph Smith translation and a note section. So I did add 2 more tabs so that I can go back in and write those down and have a tab for each of those sections. And then that's gonna do it. Let me show you guys how it turned out. I think the paper was great because it coordinates perfectly. I love the stamp set because you could see the different fonts there. Some are more casual, some are more typed looking font. I think it turned out great. It was a time-consuming project. I don't mind that the lines aren't perfectly straight. I'm okay with that. I think it turned out great, and I'm excited to have it perfectly tabbed now and work on more projects. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. You can see the paper sturdy enough. This is not that thin tissue, thin Bible paper. It is a nice thick paper made for journaling on. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Click like if you like this video, subscribe to see more. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.